as people kind of trickle in. So good morning, or good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I'm Charles Small, I'm the director of ISGAP. And today we are commemorating Yom Hashoah. It's in a few days, but this is the best day in our American calendar to commemorate it a few days early. And before I introduce the guests, I was speaking to my mother yesterday, and she said that in a way she's happy that my grandfather is not here to see what's going on.
I agree with her.
And what a horrible thing to say. That here we are in 2024, and I don't know if we're repeating the same mistakes, but we certainly show no respect and no knowledge for our history and the lessons that we so urgently needed to learn from our history. And so here we are in Yom Hashoah 2024, dealing with an explosion, not just of anti-Semitism, but we're dealing with an explosion of genocidal anti-Semitism in which our best universities in the United States and in the Western world are the incubators for this hatred. And just like when the Nazis were rising in Europe, it wasn't the police, it wasn't the military, it wasn't the unions, it was the universities that voluntarily gave up their professors and Jewish professors and Jewish students and expelled them. And today we see on our campuses with SJP and Jewish Voices for Peace, both funded by the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood has as a core ideology genocidal anti-Semitism. Its founding fathers of the Muslim Brotherhood argue that the true believer, the true Muslim, is obligated to finish the work of Hitler. This is the Qatari regime that has a bayah, a spiritual oath to the Muslim Brotherhood, that's funding our universities and funding JVP and SJP on our campuses, that are physically intimidating Jewish faculty and students and causing violence. And the funding of the Muslim Brotherhood-inspired organizations in the state of Qatar are giving the space to professors in the classroom to demonize the Jewish people, to demonize the state of Israel, to demonize Zionism. And this is the space where young Americans and young citizens go to learn to be citizens. This is where they learn their values. This is where they're educated on what it is to be a citizen of a democratic country. It's shameful and it's dangerous. And I can speak about this, as you know, for many hours, but I am humbled on this Yom Hashoah that we have really a very special guest. We have two speakers. One speaker will speak briefly, and the second speaker we will gladly give the floor. So the first speaker, the keynote address speaker for this event for Yom Hashoah, is Toby Levy. Toby Levy, Mrs. Levy was born near Lvov in Poland, in a small village called Chodorów. I hope I'm pronouncing it all right. She was born in 1933 and grew up in an Orthodox Jewish home. In the spring of 1941, the Nazis invaded the Soviet-occupied Poland, forcing Jews into ghettos for a few months. In the fall of 1942, Mrs. Levy and her family went into hiding. A Polish woman who had been a customer of her father's fabric store, my family was in the shmata business too, took them in and hid them until 1944 in a barn when they were liberated by the Red Army. The family eventually came to the United States in 1949. Mrs. Levy has spoken at prominent institutions, including the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and on behalf of the Israeli government in different events commemorating the Holocaust. So Mrs. Levy, it's really a tremendous honor that you're here with us. Thank you for being here. And the first speaker will be brief. It's Christine Maxwell, who's an educator. She recently received her PhD from the University of Texas at Dallas. She's been a scholar for more than 30 years. She's a research fellow at ISGAP and is in the she's an entrepreneur and has done work in Holocaust education. And I would like to invite Christine. We're launching a project that was really the creative power and the energy. It took years to put this project, a very important project, together. And I'd like to invite Christine to give a brief overview of the project and its significance. And that I want you to know, Christine, it was really an honor. It's been an honor that you've done this project under the auspices of ISGAP, but it was really your impetus and tenacity that led to our being able to launch this project today when we commemorate and mark Yom Hashoah. So the floor is yours for a few minutes, and then we'll bring it over to Mrs. Levy, our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Charles. I would like to acknowledge that Rebekah Nix already is helping me develop an ISGAP course based on this project, with expert input from ISGAP Fellows Amy Ellman, Joel Kotek, Diane Martin, Isabella Towarowski, and Lev Topor. I cannot tell you how happy I was to receive an advanced reading copy of Following Protocol or Not. It is exactly what I know is needed by so many and can serve as a pivotal foundation for shifting the tide of anti-Semitism. Following Protocol is written so that anybody can understand where anti-Semitism comes from in order to make sense of how it continues to intensify exponentially. This booklet's objective, non-emotional point of view makes for a powerful addition to the arsenal for combating contemporary anti-Semitism. This simple pamphlet is powerful because of its simplicity, but more importantly, because of its targeted objective of bridging the gap between knowledge of the Holocaust and anti-Semitism and Hitler and so on, and what's going on today, for example, with Black Lives Matter, LGBTQIA, gun violence, and what happened on 10/7. Contextualizing all of this in light of the lessons learned from the Holocaust is of the utmost urgency. The intentional design of this booklet is fascinating to me. My research is focused on the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Modeled after the first 1903 publication, Following Protocol or Not is a truly clever presentation. From a material aspect, it fosters individual imagination and overtly encourages people's minds to open up in ways that traditional literature often doesn't in this field. This booklet leverages the same propaganda techniques that the Russian secret police used for bad, that ISGAP is using for good. It's like we're fighting fire with fire because we're not following protocol. Practically, the primer starts with a working definition of contemporary anti-Semitism, followed by 20 statements in 4 sections. Statements 1 through 5 introduce the big lie as portrayed in Nazi propaganda. 6 through 10 specifically address the fictitious protocols of the Elders of Zion. Statements 11 through 15 discuss common misconceptions about anti-Semitism that perpetuate hatred, prejudice, and discrimination. 16 through 20 suggest ways to break the inherent, subconscious, and deliberate protocols of contemporary anti-Semitism. Then it offers actionable ideas of what those who want to stand up can do to make a difference in their own sphere of influence, once they feel prepared to take a stand. This information is delivered in a way that people can internalize, generalize, share in everyday conversation and review, so that, like the stages of a genocide and the ADL pyramid of hate, these key points will become ingrained in their thinking patterns, and they will recognize when anti-Semitism is happening. Following Protocol or Not serves as a one-stop springboard for further exploration. I see this as the ultimate curricular resource. You can take it and expand it up and down and across in whatever ways are suitable for your audience. It's something that one of the book clubs I know about would really enjoy discussing to find some common ground, some good ideas and deep dialogues. It's a quick read, but there's so much in it, you'll want to read it again and again. You can take it to so many levels. That's the beauty of it. You know, I'm amazed that ISGAP has been able to make this resource so affordable. The widespread dissemination of a work like this is critical, and I'm proud to champion this project. It's an exciting opportunity to enter new markets and engage people I would not normally speak with about anti-Semitism. So thank you, ISGAP, for letting me represent this project, and thank you again for promoting creative ideas like this and standing behind us as the unique professional network that we are. I know you've thought about other language translations, and I look forward to that happening.
Thank you.
Following protocol or not, I hope you will please check it out and help us spread the word that it is available. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine. And you don't have to thank ISGAP. Thank you for really pushing this project forward. So thank you very much for your important work. So Mrs. Levy, we're all honored and that you're here, and we're here to listen to you. And thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm going to make it sharp and short too. This was very, very well explained. I really heard her. And yours is the best, the way you explained what's going on today is exactly what happened then. And somehow people didn't learn, although they say they did, but they didn't. I have an expression. Today's Jews are not going to feel it and understand it till their heads are on the oven. Then they're going to understand it. They're not accepting yet what's going on. They're not getting together. They have to be leadership and together. Anyway, I was born 1933, the same year Hitler came to power. 1933, small town. My father was a soldier in the First World War. He wore a German uniform because Poland, Ukraine, all that part was under the Kaiser. It was German Empire. So he was under Germany. He was drafted. He went to First World War. He came, the war ended. It was a disaster. He came back and he was 18 when he was drafted. When the war ended, he was in Italy. He hitchhiked from Italy all the way to Kholorov. But he got there slowly, and he used to tell us the inflation was so big, you needed a sack full of money to buy bread. And the next day, it was worse. It was very bad timing. But slowly, he opened a store. We lived in the center of town, the Rönig, which is a square marketplace. Most Jews live next to each other. I call it, they make their own ghetto. It's comfort. You have the family, you have the synagogue, you have the temple which you go to, whatever the reason, I don't know. Comfort, I guess. So he was making a living. What did we have? So his father and grandfather lived in the same area. So they owned a house. So each child had a room, an apartment, which was like a room, a bedroom, and a kitchen. So my parents were married. They had 2 children. I had an older sister. I was 6. She was 4.5 years older than I. We had a room there too, a room and a bedroom and one in the kitchen. I remember it clearly. So life was going in the right direction. It was getting better. But what was happening in Germany, it's not like today that you have instant information. It took time to understand when Hitler came to power and what he did with the Jew, how BDS came from Germany to stop buying with the Jews, close the Jewish store, take away the jobs. And so all this came very, very slow to us to understand it. But by 1938, I guess everybody heard and understood because there was Kristallnacht, and mostly Jews went to the concentration camps, and we got the message clear. But where do you run? There was no place to run because nobody let you in. You needed money and you needed a visa. The German Jews had the money to run. Polish Jews in the small towns, the bigger towns, maybe they're a little better off, not so much, a little bit, but there was no place to go because no one opened the door. The whole world closed the doors, locked the doors, threw the keys in the water. Finished. They don't let Jews in. They don't want, America said we have our own Jews. We have enough of our own Jews. There was no place to run. So Hitler made a pact with Russia and divided Europe in 1939. So I was occupied from the Russians from 39 by the Russians, but my husband, on the other hand, is closer to the German border, Poland, but close to the German border. He was occupied from 1939. He was 12 years old when the Germans walked in. They took him, his 3 brothers, and his father to labor camp, right away. I had the Russians from 39 to 41. 41, the Germans broke the pact with Russia and attacked them. So my town is small, but it had a train station, which is a big deal, a lumber yard and a sugar factory. So there was work. It was a vibrant, small town, very vibrant, very, very, very aggressive, and very busy, I should say. So the train is the soldiers occupied on that train to run deep into Russia. My father and the 4 of us tried to get on the train. We couldn't but my single cousins, we had 2 cousins or 3 or 4 cousins, got on the train deep into Russia and they survived. So he can't get on the train. So what does he do? He takes a horse and buggy and says, maybe we'll be able to get on that train a couple of stops later. He tried, he realized he's not making it. So he turns to my mom and says, you know what? We're better off turning around and going home, because if we're caught by the Germans here, we don't know a single person. There at Chodorov, everybody knows me. Already he was thinking of getting help. His mind was working sharp. So what does we do? We turned back. Sure enough, 2 days later, the Germans walk into our town. So we lived in the Rinnick Center. It's a big, huge square, a marketplace, huge, huge. The minute they walked in, they didn't wait for the next minute, walked in, asked all the Jews to come out, all the Jews that lived there. 90% lived there. Like my maternal grandparents lived near the train station because they had a little dairy farm. A little farm, which was a little bit away. But most of Jews live close by. We all come out and we hear, and all we can hear is, since I'm so small, didn't understand what's going on, but I saw those elegant boots. I always remember those boots. Told the German officers dressed well. They weren't tired because they didn't fight. The Poles put down the guns. Russia ran away from all the towns all away, giving us order. From now on, you have no rights whatsoever. You no longer have a right. Whatever is yours is ours. Everybody goes to work. You have to wear an armband 5 inches wide with a blue star in the center. Nothing talking about children. And then they did it in every town that they occupied. They dehumanized you. They took one man, the young man didn't have a big beard or nothing of the sort, cut his beard, pushed him on his hands and feet. I'll never forget that, never. So he's like an animal on hands and feet, and the German puts his foot on his back and says, this is who you are now. So I'm looking at this in the way they're acting, is screaming at us and talking. So I'm pulling on my father's side. I said, why is he doing that? My father turns to me, keep quiet. My father never, ever yelled at me. Never. I knew it was trouble. I looked at his face and knew it's trouble. When we come upstairs to the apartment, my father says, these are not the same Germans. None of us are making it here. None of us. Even with the help, I don't think we're going to make it. My father got a job working in the lumber yard. My mom had to go to the Gestapo to go wherever they send her to work. I had an older sister. I was 7, 8. She was 12. She's 4 years older, so she's in charge of me. And my parents said, we're not to go out on the street because if I'm going with the armband, the German knows who I am. But if I'm going without the armband, because I could have, I don't look Jewish, I spoke a perfect Polish. It was my mother tongue. I spoke Polish. The Ukrainians and the Poles will give me out. So I have no chance. So I have to stay home. We're staying home. My parents don't let anybody in, but the Germans came in anyway. They took whatever they wanted. Twice they broke to their house, but we were hiding underneath the table and they didn't look for us. My father worked in a lumber yard. He was well liked by Jews and non-Jews. He was like he was a very, very good man. I mean, he was a very smart, good man. I don't know, I can't explain why, or was it luck, or was it his personality? A guy that he knows, my father, comes over and says to him, Moshe, it's going to be a big aktia. Aktia means actually killing, taking you out of the house, pushing you, screaming at you, beating you, and then killing you, eventually killing you. You better find a good hiding place. So my father finds a hiding place in the cellar, makes a hiding place, creates a hiding place. And again, couple of weeks later, couple of months later, I don't know how many months, the guy says to him, the aktia is going to be this weekend. You better go and hide. Not on the roof. This is serious. Because between when they first came and the big aktia, they picked up people what they wanted. The old ones, the sick ones, the children they picked up. But this was a big one. There wasn't to begin with maybe 5,000 with the surroundings. Wasn't that many Jews there to be bothered with. So when the guy tells my father that to hide, so he goes into hiding. We all go to hiding, all four of us, my aunt and my father's sister, with 3 children, because she lived on the ground floor. And my paternal grandfather was still alive. He didn't want to go. He says, I'd rather die now than later. Sure enough, Saturday morning, we hear the screams. The Germans harassed, get out, screaming, taking everybody out. And then coming to my aunt's apartment and telling to my grandfather, let's go. He says, no, they shoot him. You know what? Their hatred for the Jew is so great that I don't think they see you as a human. The same goes for the Ukrainians, same goes for the Poles. The hatred for the Jew is so great that they can't visualize it as I'm a human being. I had a cold. It's my end of my cold. Excuse me.
Take your time. Take it.
I have a half an hour and I want to give you all. That's me.
Nice.
So anyway, the whole day Saturday we're there. Very, very late in the afternoon, the cellar door opens up. Cellar's door, not from inside, from the street. In Europe, the cellars are from the street. And my father had made a new wall, made the cellar smaller. So I wasn't the youngest one, but all I said very quietly, just like that, they heard a noise. They started walking down with a flashlight. In the middle of their walking down, a cat jumps out and says, meow. And the Germans start laughing. Oh, it's only a katze. They turn around and walk away. We realized we made it this time. We waited a few days. We were afraid to get out. We finally get out, whoever's left. The Germans used language of deception, but even if you understood the deception, like they said, we're going to relocate the remaining Jews to Lvov, which made sense because Lvov was a big city, had a huge ghetto, must be every bit of 20,000 Jews. He comes home, he says to my mom, I don't believe them. They're going to pick us up and they're going to kill us outside of the city. I'm not going. So my father's family at this point was already all gone. My mother still had her 2 brothers and a sister alive and her mother. So my father tells them what he thinks. They're going to relocate us, but I'm not going. What are you going to do, Moshe? I'm going to look someone to hide us. Sure enough, he looks, and my aunt looks, and they find a woman named Stephanie Struck. She lives in the center of town. She knew my parents from shopping by her. So she has she has no husband. The husband was the conductor of the train, so he went with the train to Russia, but she has 2 children, a 19-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son. So she says, okay, the barn. My father says, I'll make a new wall, make the barn a little smaller. It's an old-fashioned barn, so you can't take too much space. So we're going to be either 9 or 10, but we're supposed to be 10, but 9 only were able to make it. So he took a little place like 4 feet by 5. So when you lay down to sleep, it was head to toe, head to toe, head to toe. It was pitch dark, and she didn't do it for money because we didn't have any money to give her. What my father did have, and he gave her, was material. He gave her a sack full of material, and he said to her, buy livestock, put it in this corner, so you'll be able to bring food. People shouldn't be suspicious why you're buying extra food and bring it to the barn. So she bought a pigeon and chickens. They were in one corner, and we were in the other corner. When this was ready, the women and children went in hiding. The men waited, my uncle and my father waited for the last minute. When the Germans started picking up the Jews to take to Lvov, everybody seemed to understand it's not going the right direction. There's a feeling that it's not right, and only my uncle, one uncle, and made it to the house, and my father made it to the hiding place. So there we are, sitting there. There's not much we can do. She brings food. The only food you can feed us is bread and potato. We have 2 pails of waste. And her kids don't know about her, but about us. So we sit there maybe 3 months into our hiding place, 3 people standing in the center stretching their legs, and the big barn door opens up. In the center standing Stephanie and the Ukraine police right there looking inside. The sun is shining, the most brilliant sun. She knew that she has somebody in the barn. He didn't know. He was blinded. She is standing in between him and us. I say she was my angel to be between us and him. He's looking in. The pig and chicken start running towards the door because the door is wide open. Stephanie's frozen. She can't do anything. She knows who she has there. He does not see it. If he see it, he would have taken us. It's maybe 10, 15 minutes. Everybody's standing frozen. Finally, she's unfrozen, closes the door, goes away. Comes back a couple of hours later and says to us, you have to go. I can't keep you. My kids don't know you. I am scared. My father tells her, no, he didn't see us. Go and talk to me, begging her. She said, no, you have to go. So where are we going to go? We're going to go to the forest. There's a forest. Middle of the night, we go to the forest. She'll give us the pay. She'll give us the pail. She'll give us a shovel. 9 people. We are four children, and my aunt and uncle and my grandma and my parents. We have no chance making it, but you could survive in the forest. Few young people had 2 hiding places. One was caught and the other one they made it. You could, but you had to be prepared with it. Anyway, we have no choice. My father's thinking maybe, but my sister and he should give her addresses to go to other Polish people to hide us. But by the time talking, Stephanie, I'm trying to show also the character of Stephanie. She didn't hate us. She couldn't kill us. She felt sorry for us. She goes back to the Ukraine police and says to him, you know who I am. You remember my husband. Why did you come? What are you looking for? He says to her, you bought livestock. My job is to register it. I came to register livestock. She brought a pig and chickens into the barn. She kept asking and telling, and he kept telling her the same thing. She realized he did not see. So she's walking home and she still can't chase us. It shows you there are people that have a heart. And to me, is when I talk to kids, is the most important to show the character of the people. And she comes home. She has a 90-year-old daughter, a 16-year-old son. Daughter's name is Stephanie, I think. The boy's name is Tajik. He's 16 years old. She tells him who she has in the barn and that they were leaving tonight because the police was there. And she tells him the whole story. And she says to him, and the boy, 16-year-old boy turns to mom. He says, you can't chase him. They will never make it. I will help you. Maybe together we can save them. I will never forget when Tajik comes in, opens the barn door. My name is Tajik. You're not going anyplace. This is hiding places. You could never make it. He went higher, made a level higher. So we had enough. The children could stand, the adult could sit, and much more comfortable. That's where we sat for 2 years. We had lice, mice, rats, you name it, we had it. Fear 24 hours. But food was scarce. To feed 9 people during the wartime, second year hiding, she took German officers to live in her house. We said, what are you doing? The barn door is always open. She says, I'm more safer. I'm doing it for me. We had to understand it. This 16-year-old boy, Tajik, watched our barn 24 hours. Once my uncle wanted to know what time it is, and he put his flashlight, and sure enough, a minute later, there were the Germans with the flashlight, and Tajik with his flashlight. His friends wanted to climb on the step ladder to look into the barn, and he grabbed the step ladder from underneath the feet. He says, "Come, the barn door's open. What do you think? I'm hiding Jews?" He dared them. An unbelievable couple. 1944, the Russians walked in. We were liberated. We made it. To discuss how to make it when this is not important to you, but when school children, I do give them details. It's important. But I tell you one thing: my father never changed his religion. He went into hiding with a talit and tefillin and put them on every morning. He knew the holidays. He made a calendar. He knew everything what to write down. He made sure to teach us. And when I asked him, what did you do wrong, Daddy? Why? Why can't I go outside like all the other kids? He'd say, I don't know. The world doesn't like us. He says, but if we make it, then he says, we will make it because somebody has to survive to be able to tell the world, because this is not acceptable. So if you make it, you're going to go to school, you're going to get educated, and you're going to figure out why they hate us. Well, I'm 90 years old and I haven't figured it out yet. And I'm going through it the second time. This is the second time in my lifetime, a little bit too much. But I'm here to tell it. 44, when the war ended, we didn't go any place because we couldn't. When 45, the war ended, just like my father said, they're going to come people looking for survivors, picking us up from place to place, bringing us all over into one area. Displaced persons, we were in army barracks, quite a few all over in Germany and in Austria. I was the one in Austria, Abelsberg, closer to Linz, Vienna, Abelsberg. From all over, from every small or big town, we got together. Right away, we had teachers to teach the children. Right away, we knew we were going to get an Israel because we were learning Hebrew, we were learning Hebrew and whatever the kids needed, each child we had the teachers. I don't know from where, but it was there. So from 1945 to 1949 was my best years of my life. We made friends from all over the world. And you know what? We still keep them. We used to have reunions once. When we are more than friends. When survivors meet, they say to me, what, I call it a password. How'd you make it? Where were you? That's it. Either I was in concentration camp or I was labor camp. And I had parents, which was very few had survived with parents, very few. So we had a barrack that children that had their parents. Life was for me from 45 to 49 the best. We were supposed to go to Israel, but whatever the reason, I'm not getting involved now. We came in 1949, everybody opened the door. The whole world found the keys to their doors, and they let the Jews in. So the last minute be coming to United States, but the joint and the Hayas paid for our trip. But my father went to the south. He didn't want to go north because he says he doesn't want to work in a sweatshop. But he remembered that the early 1900s, the Jews that went to the south, they all were peddlers. You know what a peddler is?
Yeah.
No. Yes. Oh, good. Somebody knows something. All the middle-aged people, like Fuller Brushman used to be here, I remember. So he said, I'm going to become a peddler. And sure enough, we came to New Orleans. He went to the south, to New Orleans, and he became a peddler, and he was loved by the people the same way as he was loved in Hodov. But my sister and I got married to New York very young, and we made a life. My husband was a watchmaker. He learned once, you know what, when we, from 45 to 49, you could learn a trade. You could go to school like I did, or learn a trade like my husband would learn in watch repair. So when he came to the United States, he went to Laundry, he got a job right away. We prepared to go forward. We didn't loot, we didn't break anything, we didn't steal, and we didn't kill, we didn't do anything. All the survivors were looking was to make a life and go forward. And that's exactly what we did. I knew I was going to eventually wind up working for the museum, but it took quite a few years till I had the time. I took care of my parents. They died in 93, 94. My husband had Parkinson's, and I took care of him. When I had the time, I went to the museum. I said, here I am. I need to volunteer. It's about 15 years ago. That's when I started volunteering and speaking to children what hatred, and mostly I speak about is hatred. I think I'm doing a good job. Even if one kid from one class that I say that I can, what I ask the children is to go home is to discuss with their parents why they hate the Jews. Do they hate the Jews? Like a high school kid once asked me, once only, did you ever want revenge? I says, I have my revenge. I'm here. I have children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So she answers me in a letter. Like right now, I was sitting and reading postcards that I just got from a school. In a letter, she writes me, I never knew you can have revenge without killing. So I did teach something. I think I'm doing a good job, but not enough. Too many of us, too many to teach not to hate. My father taught me, if you're going to hate what happened to you, you will never make a life. So you have to make yourself sure that you don't hate the Germans, you don't hate anybody. And that's the way I am. I don't hate anybody. I just don't have hatred in me. In you functioning as a human being, you need moral code. You need to know what's right and what's wrong. Did I overdo it, or am I okay?
You're okay. You're okay.
I'm okay with my time.
Yeah.
So I will never forget. We were always in touch with Stephanie and her children, but we could never send anything to her till we came to New Orleans because we never had any money. Till 1950, we still didn't have any money, but my father said, what do you need? She said, material. So we kept sending. When she passed away, we kept sending the children, but Tajik died, I'm not sure, young. He has 2 daughters. I'm in touch with her great-grandchildren till today.
Oh.
I will never, ever forget them. They gave me life. If I forgot anything, we'll have to wait for next year. If you have any questions, but I wanted to tell you that I will never forget them, and I'm in touch with them. I went back in 2007 to look what's there, but there was nothing there. We had 2 houses. We left the 2 houses for them, but my father went to court, legally sold the houses because she was so afraid to take them because the Ukrainians are going to kill her. Oh, they would have killed her. The Ukrainians are tough people. But I feel sorry for them because I don't hate them. I think I gave you everything. If you have any questions.
Yeah, we have some time for questions. So thank you so much for your talk, for going through everything with us. I have one question. I have many questions, but I'll ask one. What's your message for us? We're concerned, as you know, about contemporary anti-Semitism, what's happening now. So what's your message to us?
Kind of late, but it's never too late. I say you can't get away anybody that says a lie, especially anybody that's in office. If you repeat a lie over and over, then everybody starts believing it. Like the squad that came in at first. The minute she came in, she started with Israel. So Pelosi says, well, she didn't mean to. She didn't this. Why excuse her? Why not accept the fact who she is and what she said? Where are the Jewish leaders?
Yeah.
Where are the Jewish leaders?
You're absolutely right.
They're certainly very powerful in other areas. They're generous to give and feel sorry for this and this and that, but they don't understand. Is it the liberal Jews? Yes. If I don't want to call names, comes on TV in can bash Jews in front, a politician, a New Yorker put in front, bash Jews. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Does his last name start with an S by any chance? I'm kidding. I think
Schumer. Okay, let me give him his name.
All right.
He can't.
And also with Ilhan Omar, apparently the Congress will censor her because when she was at Colombia, she said that the Jews are either pro-genocide or anti-genocide. So she may be in trouble. But
But this has been going on for a while. So the leaders, every time because I meet a lot of people when I talk, I met leaders. I said, why are you keeping quiet? Oh, we're working behind the scene. That's not enough. It didn't work out well. I don't think it's too late. I don't think Middle America is anti-Semitic. I don't think Americans hate the Jews. I think it's those people that hate the Jews. I don't believe I don't believe. I think there's a chance if the Jews got together, the leadership, and figured it out correctly. I don't think there is, I really don't feel that way. The Americans are not hateful.
I agree. Is there anybody else that would like to ask a question? If you can put up your electronic hand or indicate to me if you'd like to ask a question. Okay, I think I see Christine.
Toby, I was really moved by what you said today because it's a story that I haven't heard before, right? I've heard many, many survivor stories, but what you say and what you live with today is as important. It's a timeless thing to be aware and to be, when someone actually stands up and helps you, as was your case, under terribly frightening circumstances.
I agree.
That is, unfortunately, very few had the courage to do that. But we're in a place now where, you know, 10/7 made every one of us a witness to an unfolding, again, the Holocaust. That's how I feel 10/7. And, you know, that means that, you know, every single one of us has a chance to do something in our own local sphere. And, you know, I think that the following protocol or not booklet there has some really helpful information and very specific about what can individual people do today. And as I too feel hope. And the bronze sculpture on the front of Following Protocol or Not is a bronze maquette that was created by Naomi Blake. She was a Holocaust survivor and a sculptress. And if you notice the shape of it, there's a kind of opening. And for her, she lives still with hope. And that's what that bronze means. That's what it expresses.
By the way, 31 people survived in Chodorov, all in hiding by others.
Oh.
So this family had 9, another family had 15, and then 2 sisters, and then maybe 4 in the forest. So there were 3 other families that hit. They said Poland had some, but not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough to make a difference, but it did make a difference. I'm here. Like my father used to say, somebody will have to survive because we have to tell the world. We have to teach the world. So how much more teaching can you do? How much more teaching can you do if you don't want to learn? Okay, it's no use discussing these issues. It's a tough issue, but I still say it's winnable. If the Jews get together, if they don't fight between each other. If Jews start fighting between each other, forget it. You have no chance. That's what happened. That's what happened in Israel, 10/7, because the Jews were fighting for a full year with the government. Jews fight. I know it's going the wrong direction. I know it. And I'm begging him, stop fighting. I was in Israel 2 days before I left. I was there 2 days before October 7th. And I said, stop fighting. She's telling me what they're doing. I said, it's not good for Jews. The world is watching it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions? No?
Amy Cooper from ISGAP.
ISGAP. So Toby, I kol hakavod. I've had the honor, the privilege to listen to you before.
Oh.
And one of the last times was, I think we were at IBM.
Oh.
And someone asked the question.
It's last year.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things you said resonated me to this day. I still remember it. And I think it's particularly apt for ISGAP. You said your father gave you good advice.
Yes.
That when people say, I'm going to kill you,
Believe
them.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me that. Yes. My father gave me advice. If people tell you I hate you, believe him. Don't cover it up. Don't say, well, she didn't mean to. She doesn't know what hate means. Bullshit. Right. Very well put. That's what he taught. And he taught me, if you can't get out through the window, try the door. You can't try. When I was 8, he was trying to teach me how to survive in case he doesn't come home. When I was in hiding with him, he was trying to teach me if we'll make it to get out. He was trying to teach me. He succeeded. I made it. I'm here and I'm telling you. So thank you for reminding me that. Believe it. Believe a hater. Believe him. Believe him. When they take a American flag down and put on a Hamas flag, oh, you taking that? That they took it? Who in his right mind? I don't care what free speech is. This is not free speech. This is harassment. Take down a flag and put up a different flag in front of the college? That's unacceptable. But of course it is by the college. If you finish with questions, I want to say something else.
Please feel free.
I am affiliated with the museum full time. The museum is going to make me a AI. They're going to make
Yes.
it and a few others.
Yeah.
So deniers cannot deny, because I will be around for 50 years, or 150 years, deniers, and I will be answering questions. So I need everybody's help. I need to help them raise the money for whatever they need. We started it already. I can give you, if anybody's interested, I can give you the link to the museum, and that's the only way I can do it.
Yeah, what's the link? Do you know it?
I gave Sivan the link. Sivan has the link.
Yes, if anybody is interested, then let me know and I will send you the information.
What's the link? You can say it now, and then we can also.
Can you read it? I don't have it in front.
Yeah, I can paste it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
And then
Thank you very much. But I think okay, just like everything else, maybe it'll help, maybe not. But I will be a witness. You know, every class when I talk, I says, you have to be my witness. Then I say to the kids, you have to go to your parents, you have to discuss what they hate, what they learned. I try other methods than just teaching. What do the parents know? How much do they know? What did they say today? What did they say then? I educate the kids.
thanks. We have a question from Jody Price, and Sivan will post the link in the chat.
Already on. for
It's on.
anybody.
I don't
Toby,
see it.
hello. It's really not a question. It's just, I just want to tell you how much I admire your spunk, your spirit,
Thank
your feistiness, and your, the fact that you don't hate is a remarkable thing to me.
Absolutely none.
And I'm just so pleased to have made your acquaintance and to have heard your story. And I
Very
wanted to thank you.
Well,
Really,
let me tell you, life is worth it. Life is worth it. It's only one life you have, and it's worth it. Worth it to live it right, to enjoy it, to not to say my glass is half full, not half empty. If I don't have it, you don't need it. My father used to say, if you don't have it, you don't need it. Be content.
yeah, yeah. Amen.
So it's worth it. Life is worth it. I have raised two beautiful children, high education, good working people. The best immigration America ever had was the second generation that the kids were born here. And I have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. My God, whoever dreamt of that?
It's amazing.
Yes.
Just amazing.
So I have what to be grateful for.
We all do.
That's right. But I also remember, I don't forget. I can't forget. No.
No.
I cry many a times, many. I remember and I cry. But then it is what it is. I was in Israel 2 days before this explosion, and I came home. I was distraught. It took a week or two for me to you know what calmed me? When the mayor, I can't think of his name now.
Adams.
Adams got on TV and said, it's anti-Semitism is unacceptable. I will not tolerate it. The mayor and then the president. Of course, I knew the president would change his mind in a week, but at least the first week he said it. I said, gee, hey, it's not the same. Look at this. Look at it. If it doesn't come from the government, then it can never be the same, because it's not the government. It's mobs. Mobs you can handle. The government you can't handle. So the government said it's unacceptable. Hey, so I started reading, watching what I like, not just the negative, the positive, and reading the positive. And I came to the conclusion that American basically I think we can work out if it works, it will work. I'm hoping. I think there's a chance of doing it. But the government, very important for the government. If the government, so he gave me the hope. He gave me the sign that there is hope here. It means the mobs are not going to win. That's what I saw. And I'm hoping. Thank you.
Thank you. So does anybody else have a comment or question? We have a couple of minutes.
There's one in the chat.
You want to read it? Go ahead.
Sure. It's from Isabel Maxwell. What might your message be to the students protesting on campuses today, Gaza River to the sea?
First of all, I would say, in my opinion, more than half are not students.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Nothing to talk to us. They're not students. They have an agenda. And they know they can get away with everything here because the police are going to do nothing. The government's going to do nothing. The schools are going to do nothing. They can get away with it. Even if they take them to jail. One guy said, they'll take me to jail. They'll let me out tomorrow. That's what he said on TV. So what is there to talk about? There's no law and order. If there's no law and order in a country, the morals go down. Law and order goes down, you figure out what can happen next.
Okay, so Toby and Mrs. Levy, Toby.
That's okay. Toby is fine.
Thank you so much. On behalf of everybody, I really thank you for your insight, your wisdom, your message. We really appreciate it deeply.
I gave her the most important thing. Did I do well? I gave it the most
amazing.
important thing.
No, you're an inspiration to us. I know I'm speaking on behalf of everybody, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'd also want to say thanks to Christine and on her important project, which will be launching officially shortly. And really thank you, everybody. And we have to incorporate the lessons of Mrs. Levy and confronting the challenges that we face today.
Up front, yes, you can't let them get away with it. Yes,
exactly. We have to be strong and proud of being Jewish and proud of living in a democracy.
Definitely, it's a democracy. You got it right.
I'm trying.
Your first speech you gave was perfect. What I would say. I have to figure out where I met you. I know I met you.
Yeah, you look familiar. Maybe around New York somewhere. But it'll be nice to stay in touch, and thank you.
Thank you too.
And everybody, thanks for being here, and we remember the lessons of Mrs. Levy, and we'll be good.
Good, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
God bless you all and give you whatever you're looking for, mainly peace and health.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem.
Thank you.
Sei gesund.
You too.
Bye-bye.